Hey, beautiful people. This is Candace Edwards, the founder and the creator of I Am Beautiful 365, where we bring you Black positivity all the time. I am here with you today with a special guest. We are going to discuss the movie Nappily Ever After. Just a few things that kind of stuck out to us that we wanted to address. And of course, I'm here with my Black owned business of the week. But I am going to go ahead and let Miss K.Hill introduce herself because she's so awesome like that. So, Miss K.Hill, what's going on? Let us know a little bit about you.
Well, first of all, Candace, thank you for having me on this, and I appreciate being here with you and the rest of the I Am Beautiful 365 crew. Like you said, my name is K.Hill. I go by K, Kamaria, all the things, but preferably K. And I am the owner of Lockccessories.com, your online home for all things curls, coils, kinks, and locks.
There we go. So Miss K.Hill is a locks expert. Well, what made me want to talk about this topic with you is I had tuned into one of your lives and you were talking about when you went natural, you always got these questions that, kind of made you feel some kind of way. And I feel like the movie hit on some of those different things as well. So I thought that would be like a good segue. And it got so many different mixed reactions. Some people felt like it was extremely predictable. Some people felt like it was a great movie. I'm a little bit in between. I thought it was a good movie. It was predictable, but I still thought it was a good movie. And before I realized that it wasn't child appropriate, I was watching it with my daughter, and there were a few scenes in the movie that she couldn't relate to, and it actually made me kind of excited that she couldn't relate to it because she couldn't understand why it was such a big deal for what was Sanaa Lathan's character's name? I can't remember, but she couldn't understand Viola.
Violet.
Why Violet couldn't jump in the pool. She couldn't understand it. So that was a good feeling for me. How you doing, Bridget? Thank you for tuning in. But one of the things that I did want to touch on and get your opinion on as well was how did you feel when they were at the table? I don't know if it was Violet's aunt or who the woman was, but she had made a statement about the mom going outside with her hair nappy and all over her head and stuff like that. So how did you feel about that when they said that?
I actually thought it was really telling.
Absolutely.
For character when she gave her the evil look, like how dare you reveal those, deep dark secrets. That wasn't something I wanted to let be known. We kind of got all of that with the look that she gave her sister, and it gave some insight onto why she behaved the way she behaved towards Violet and why she was so adamant about having her hair straight and perfect at all times. And I actually kind of am glad that your daughter couldn't relate as well. That makes me feel good because that means that the work that we're doing in this natural hair movement is working. It's making progress to where one day our young girls won't even get why we're making such a big deal out of this.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, it was such a good feeling. Eventually I explained it to her, but she understood. How you doing, Amila? I'm sorry, Alma. How you doing, Alma? Thanks for tuning in. But because when I was growing up as a child, the thing that was stressed with me, and they touched on it in the movie as well, was having long hair. And I always had long hair as a child. My mother took great care of my hair. And that was just this thing. And even as I became an adult, it was like, oh, don't cut your hair. Why would you cut your hair? So between having a relaxer or having straight hair and then having long hair, it's like this staple of like importance or I don't know what it is, but it's just something that's really or used to be extremely important to Black women. I got a lot of hair when I cut my hair. It was just like, it's hair. It's gonna grow back. So those were like a lot of things that I feel like as a young Black girl who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, like that's something that a lot of Black females and a lot of Black women could relate to. But one of the things that we kind of touched on a little bit was children, and even us, like trying to fit into this European standard of beauty. Like, with your experience, when did you go natural, and like how was that experience? I felt like, I don't remember, but I felt like you were like, it wasn't a time where, it was cool and popping to go natural.
Not at all. I went natural, and I'm about to date myself, but I went natural in 1996, and
Okay.
I was in college. And when I went natural, there was kind of like a small little community. Lauryn Hill was popular at the time, and she had started wearing her hair in these little crinkles, and now we call them twist outs. But back then, they weren't yet called twist outs. And that was the first time I saw hair in its natural state that I felt I could identify with. Because before that, it was like, if you were natural, you had an afro, and I really couldn't identify with afros. I didn't see myself in an afro. But when I saw Lauryn Hill, I said, oh, that looks like me. That's someone who is in the spotlight. She's being celebrated, and she looks like me. I can do that. And so I did go natural when I was in college. But the thing was, when it was time for me to graduate, I got a lot of flack from not only, the adults, the parents, friends of parents, the peer group, the church group, everybody was saying, okay, now you got to straighten your hair. If you want to get a job, you got to straighten your hair. And even some whispers were, if you want to get a man, you got to straighten your hair.
Wow.
So a lot of that, even though I had a boyfriend at the time, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, those were the messages that you got back then, because it was not commonplace at all. And I do think that I lost out on some job opportunities. Alma says she went natural in 68.
All right, Alma. I know that's right.
She's taking us. And she can probably talk, the ladies that have gone natural in the 60s and 70s can tell us about that experience as well. Because I know from, the 90s on, basically. But now I lost my train of thought. But basically, so I went natural way back then, and I've been natural ever since. And I did lose out on some job opportunities at that time, but I just really made a personal decision that I didn't want to be in a work environment that attached my ability to do the job with the texture of my hair. I didn't think they went together, and I didn't want to be in an environment that supported that type of thinking. So
I've only been natural, and I'm not the type of person to remember dates and stuff like that. So it's probably been, how old is my youngest? Maybe like 4 or 5 years I've been natural. And that was a huge struggle for me to just to make that decision. But I kept talking about it. And then it wasn't my hair. I feel like some people have like these elaborate stories about why they went natural. I didn't have any hair damage. It wasn't anything extravagant. It was just something in me that said, this is not naturally who I am, so I want to go natural. And I did. It was a struggle though, because I think I told my husband for about a year straight, I kept saying, I'm gonna go natural, And it wasn't until he challenged me that I went in the bathroom, I took some scissors and just cut it all off.
Oh, wow.
And, and he took me, he was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to take you to my barber. And I went to the barber, got my hair faded up. I wore a fade for about a year, and I've been growing it since. But it was a rough decision, only because I was used to seeing myself one way, and I was scared to see what I would look like as with my hair natural. And wait, what we got? Terry had an afro in 79. All right, Terry.
All right.
But
so when you
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. When you did make that decision, did you receive any like initial reactions from your family and friends and like coworkers and things?
Oh wow, it was crazy. The crazy thing is, a lot of the feedback, the honest feedback, I didn't get it until like maybe a couple months ago. I'm sitting and talking to my friends. We're having wine, and all of them disclosed to me that they thought I was having a nervous breakdown. I'm like, what? I felt so offended. I'm like, no, I just wanted to go natural, and that's the way I chose to do it. I don't know if it was because I chose to do a fade, or I'm assuming that's what it was because I just cut all my hair off. And when people are always telling you how nice your hair is, how long your hair is, and then you just cut it all off one day, I guess maybe I could have been having a nervous breakdown.
But the truth is, in our society, we have such a strong attachment to, like you said, hair length. Like that's what our beauty is wrapped up in. And we don't realize, well, we may realize how strong that influences our decisions and our freedom.
Yeah, it does. It does. And, you know, even now, like I'll see, for me, I don't wear weave a lot, but, you know, I do protective styling sometimes. What did I almost say? Swimming was the first class in high school. I tried to put a plastic bag on, swimming cap, and enough is enough. Oh yeah, trying to keep that hair together when you have a relaxer, it's rough. You know, always like in the movie, she couldn't get in the swimming pool.
She couldn't get in the weather every day.
It's like it was rough. The swimming caps didn't work for me either when I was in high school, so it was really rough. But oh wait, that's somebody else. I decided to just stay natural after my battle with cancer in 2016. Once my hair grew back, I just decided no more chemicals. Beautiful, beautiful.
Wonderful.
Stay true to myself. And you know, there have been recent reports about different chemicals being in not just our relaxers, but what was it, anti-frizz products, and there were a few more, but specifically being in Black women's hair care products that that causes different diseases and illnesses that are common within Black women. So that was a great decision. That was one reason why, because I kept hearing that it was linked to fibroids.
I had heard that too.
That it was linked to fibroids, and that was another reason. It was just like for myself. And, you know, just having something on your head, just burning your scalp, it's just something about it didn't make sense to me. So
right.
I can't say that I was conscious at that time, but just something within me just was like, okay, I'm good. But what were we saying? The beauty standards. I feel like there is a natural hair movement, but I feel like if we continue to have the conversation, that more women will feel comfortable being natural, because like in the movie, she went to work, and I believe we were talking about it earlier. You said when she cut her hair off, it was like she was invisible. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how we feel. It's like we look at what the media is attracted to, or what you see in videos and things like that. And so we don't typically see natural women in videos. We don't typically see natural women in the media. And so you go towards what's more popular at that time, and it just puts you in a place of comfort, I guess. You know, your favorite entertainer probably is not natural. So it's that pressure to fit in. It's that pressure to feel beautiful. It's so many different pressures in society, period. And I think that's why a lot of women struggle with it, even in a corporate environment. I remember getting ready to go to my mom's job, and she was really concerned about my hair. And I'm like, I'm just coming to visit. Like, I don't know, because she does work in a predominantly white environment, I knew that she felt some kind of way about it. And she gave me a lot of slack in the beginning too, but now she's going natural. So you got to stay true to what you believe in and how you feel. And I think the movie hit on that. Was it a little cheesy? Yeah, but I still think it was a great movie. What made you stay true to being natural? Because there are, like I just said, those different pressures. Like, what made you say, look, I don't care what anybody got to say, I'm natural, and that's how I'm gonna stay?
Wow. I don't think I've ever thought about that question specifically. I just knew I didn't want to live a double life. Like, I didn't want to live feeling ashamed of myself. I didn't want to apologize for what naturally grew out of my head. I didn't want to, you know, make myself feel bad or apologize for the way God brought me here. Like, I didn't feel like I should have to apologize. And so I decided I'm not going to.
Wow.
Now, now, to be honest, I still feel the pressure sometimes, because my most recent job, I had locks for about 11 or so years. But while I was at my last job, I transitioned back to being a loose natural. I actually combed them out. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was wearing my hair back in a natural state, one weekend, I was rocking the Afro puff. And I was kind of, feeling myself a little bit. But then it came time Sunday night, and I had to go to work on Monday. And I was so nervous about wearing that Afro puff to work. So much so that I shocked myself. I had to stop and think about, okay, why do you feel so much tension around this? Why wearing the Afro puff makes you feel so uncomfortable going to work? So that, and maybe I'm a little bit of a rebel, but the fact that I felt that made me wear the Afro puff to work, just to show myself that I'm living what I speak, that I'm going to be confident in how my hair is, period.
That's awesome. It's
I'm gonna ask Cheesy how.
Oh, what did you say was cheesy?
Oh, I think you said you thought the movie was a little bit cheesy, and she's asking how.
Okay. Okay, maybe not cheesy, but it was really predictable. A lot of the things that happened in the movie, I felt like were pretty predictable. But I still thought it was a good movie, and I thought that the message was extremely important. So I heard a lot of people say that they didn't like it because it was predictable, but I just like that the message that, we're having this conversation about natural hair more often, and the struggle of the Black woman, because a lot of people, if you're not Black, then you don't understand. So, or if you're not natural, like, I don't know. I feel like that's not everybody's story. Like, you have people who may have grown up and were natural and have always been natural, but to see that story being told on the screen, I just thought it was pretty cool. But I definitely thought it was kind of predictable. But it was good. It was good. I'm not knocking the movie. It was good.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe because they had to condense the story, like, because that's our life story. That's not like a little 1 hour segment of our life. That's our whole life, for some of us. So they had to condense so many touch points that I think that's what made it a little predictable.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it was one more thing I wanted to touch on. Encouraging our children. Or just women, just encouraging Black women, Black children to not try to fit into this standard that's not necessarily ours. Like, we're not European, so we don't have to fit in that box. And one thing I did with my girls was just like showed them the different things that their hair could do. Like, yeah, you can wear your hair straight, you can wear it in braids, you can wear it in twists, you can wear afro, you can wear puffs. Like, if you show them like how cool and all the different things all the options that they have with their hair, I think they will learn to appreciate it a little bit more. At least mine do. Mm-hmm. But of course, everybody doesn't grow up with a natural mom who has this whole movement that she's on and stuff like that. But that's what I try to do, just show them like all the different things that they can do with their hair. And I hope that stays with them. I don't plan on ever putting a relaxer in their hair. If they do when they get older, that's a decision that they can make. But if you can straighten it without putting chemicals in it, then why would you need to, go that route? But that was my biggest thing as far as encouraging them not to fit in a certain standard, but also teaching them about their history and who they are. So that's something that I try to do as well. Is there any type of advice that you could give with that? Because I know that you also make natural hair products for kids, for young girls.
Yeah, the advice I would give is just to try to be conscious of the words that you're speaking. And some of that language has been with us for so many generations that we don't even pay attention. Like when you say, come in here and let me get these kitchens, or I need to make sure these edges are slayed. And, what is that saying? What is that? When you have to, and I know I'm going to step on some toes, and I'm kind of sorry, not sorry. But when you say that your edges have to be slayed in order for you to look presentable or beautiful, you're saying that something is wrong with the way your hair is. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with a little curly edges? You know what I mean? Why does that have to be tamed, quote unquote? Yeah. So just paying more attention to the words that we're speaking. when we reference our little girls and when we reference their hair. And like even when you sit down to do their hair, if you're like, oh